Peace and love, African family. Welcome to it. My name is Mukondeleli Mraudzi wa Gwamasenga. Back again. Welcome to Mlinzi Africa, the Guardians of Africa. And in that vein, I was I was listening to the sort of exchange between uh, South Africa and Rwanda, and yeah, I asked myself quite a few questions about that. And one of the things I wondered was, are these old men serious? Kagame and Ramaphosa, are they really serious? These men. I mean, I listened to them, go back and forth, and I heard Paul Kagame there was very irritated, and his speech was not diplomatic at all. It was a scathing attack. I mean, it even is in his speech, Kagame. He even says if South Africa prefers confrontation, Rwanda is more than happy, to deal with things in that way any day, as he says. So yeah, it had me concerned that with all the conflicts that are happening on the African continent, we will need some serious leadership to avoid us going into absolute chaos at this point. Um, yeah, I think, yeah, that's the thing that worries me. Leadership in handling conflict situations on the continent, because just the exchange between the South African officials and Rwandan officials, especially Paul Kagame on the Rwandan side, it just shows that we have a long way to go in terms of handling things, in a politically mature way, because I don't see any benefit to anyone with Rwanda and South Africa having a full out war. Uh, of course, we heard, the tragic stories of the 14 South African soldiers whose lives have been lost as a result of this conflict. Um, some of you may have heard the historical context of what's happening in the Congo, but there's a whole lot of historical context there that I don't want to get into, but ultimately you see how the colonial boundaries between the Congo and Rwanda have created this situation in part because the M23 are Congolese citizens who have some relation to Rwanda, you know, and then it seems on the Congo side they are made to feel as though they are not supposed to be there in the Congo, in the eastern part of Congo, which is right on the border with Rwanda. So you see, and then there are some elements and some forces from back in the Rwandan genocide there, which complicate things even more. But yeah, I think we really need sober-minded leadership to steer through such storms. Because I can tell you right now, I mean, Rwanda and South Africa going to war, it sounds like there are other regional players who are also saying that they would fight against Rwanda, and then others are saying they'll fight against South Africa. I mean, it's gonna be a mess. It's gonna be an all-out regional war, and there will be no winners. Ultimately, the only winners will possibly be external players, and we know the issues in the Congo. A lot of it has to do with the minerals there. So there are a lot of interest around the minerals in the Congo. But Ultimately, African people would be the losers. Maybe some of our leaders will find a way to benefit out of it all. But us, we are never going to be winners in the instance of war, between any major powers in any region on the African continent. It is not ideal, So I think, yeah, right now we need leadership that is going to put on sober heads and figure things out, without many more lives being lost. So those are just my thoughts, African family. I don't know what you think. I don't agree with these ones, with especially people in South Africa who are saying no, we must go and show them, they can't just kill South African soldiers. Hey guys, we don't understand war, eh? We don't understand war. I don't think South Africans understand war very well. We have never been in a war like that with a nation, a prolonged conflict, as in war, proper war. I'm not talking about the struggle against apartheid. I'm talking about warfare. Um, I mean, another thing is, if you look at Kagame, he is a seasoned soldier. He's been in combat, and it's not too long ago that he was in combat. I looked at Angie Mutshekga talking about how the killing of South African soldiers was a declaration of war and all this tough talk. And I asked myself, when was Angie Mutshekga in an actual war situation? You know, that we would be so quick, to talk about war like that. Hey guys, let's be sober about this issue. Um, we don't have any real war experience like that, not in a real sense anyway. So we must think very carefully about how we talk about war. Um, and I think also on the Rwandan side, we wish that cool heads could prevail, and on the South African side as well, a bit more responsibility in how we talk about these issues, please. I don't know what you think, brothers and sisters, but for me, any war between any African countries, guys, security and sovereignty is another thing. And then there's development. Majority of our populations are underdeveloped. So war, mm, that's going to make the things we have to do even more complicated. So yeah, but I mean, I can understand different sides and where they are coming from. And the only issue with geopolitical matters, we make our analysis, and we only deal with what we can find in the public domain. But there is obviously a lot we're not privy to. Like for example, besides what Paul Kagame told us, we don't know what he and Ramaphosa discussed. You know, some of them are dealing with high level matters that sometimes you don't have full information. But just working on what we have and looking at all the different interests that are involved in this conflict, my thinking is there is no military solution for sure. Our leaders have to come to the negotiation table, if anything, so that we can stop the bloodshed of our people and the constant destabilizing of our people. Moving them from here to there constantly because of this war. Anyway, uh, that's all I have in mind. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you think about this tough talk about war. Do we really know war? Do we really know? And yeah, I think these are things we ought to think about. African family, one love.